Hey there, and good Friday morning, Black Friday, big shopping day. Although we're not seeing as many crowds out of the malls, I'm thinking most of y'all are shopping online like me. You can do it in your pajamas, with your coffee, although I've seen people out there for Black Friday shopping in their pajamas. Anyway, thank you for tuning in for a little update. Brandon's on the computer. We're running through some of the big stories that you guys are clicking on and sharing via khou.com, our Facebook page. I do want to start with an update that's developing out of London. London Bridge is shut down right now because of an incident. We don't really have many details. There are reporters from the BBC, though, who report hearing gunshots. So this is a story we're keeping tabs on. Download our KHOU 11 News app, sign up for notifications, and we will send an alert out as soon as we get any more information. But that is something I wanted to mention right off the top here. The other story that's developing locally, that TPC plant fire in Port Neches. So right now, emergency managers are meeting to try to figure out what to do next and assess how bad things are. Now, a county judge says that conditions are improving, but the area is not out of the woods yet. You just saw that giant plume of smoke. There's a mandatory evacuation order in effect for a 4-mile radius. So this is affecting tens of thousands of people in Port Neches, Groves, Nederland, part of Port Arthur. A lot of those people just ignored the evacuation order yesterday so they could have Thanksgiving at home, but a ton of people are also displaced over this holiday weekend. So that's what county leaders are trying to figure out, whether that evacuation order needs to stand or if they can relax it. So we will have an update on that on khou.com as soon as word comes out of that meeting. Another huge story, the weather and holiday travel. You wrapped up your Thanksgiving celebrations with your family. A lot of folks are either, headed home or headed to a new destination. The weather conditions across the country are just absolutely awful. There's that bomb cyclone that hit Oregon and Northern California. If you haven't seen video from there, it is incredible. Hurricane force winds. Well, that's now traveling into Colorado, kind of dipping across the country. And locally, we're going to see kind of a messy forecast tomorrow, not a bomb cyclone, but we want to check in with Erica to find out what today looks like, what tomorrow's going to look like, and get that 7-day forecast. Hey, Erica.
Hey, yeah, I mean, it is such a busy forecast, that's for sure, across the country. I want to focus in on the bomb cyclone that you're talking about, because check this out. Zooming into Arizona, which, by the way, is my home state, it's a mess out there. They've had a few tornado warnings this morning, which is not very common for Arizona. And then that's actually the same cold front that's going to push through Houston tomorrow. So this is why we're watching it very, very closely. For us, we actually have a warm front that moved in overnight into the early portions of our morning. So that's why if you haven't stepped outside, it's going to be about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. It's not as comfortable. Yesterday was dry, it was cool, it was breezy. Now it's muggy, it's warm, it's drizzly outside. So big changes compared to yesterday. On average, we're seeing about 5 to 10 degree warm up across the viewing area compared to yesterday. So lots of 70s, lots of upper 60s. Unlike yesterday, I was tracking 50s and low 60s. Okay, warm front is also bringing in some rain chances. So we've had very light scattered showers, primarily west of Houston again, but almost everyone has been seeing drizzle this morning, and you have the chance of seeing drizzle throughout today. So just a heads up for that. We're not expecting heavy downpours, but it is going to be just kind of a murky Friday in terms of what we can expect throughout the rest of this Black Friday. So fog is an issue this morning. I'm seeing some of it start to improve, but visibility is still reduced to a 1/4 mile or even less in some spots. 0 out in Brenham right now. Very dense fog for our north and western areas. Heading out to Bush at 1/2 mile visibility. It's not as bad as what we had earlier this morning, but if you're trying to catch a flight, give yourself extra time because we are running into a lot of fog traveling to Bush. Okay, your hour-by-hour forecast. It gets interesting. I mentioned the cold front we're tracking. That arrives tomorrow. So after we get through patchy rain today, the timing of that cold front will be tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. That's when we have a good storm chance with this, okay? This system already has a history of strong gusty winds and some severe weather. We have a severe weather threat in our forecast tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. This yellow shaded color, this is issued by the Storm Prediction Center. What it means is that we have a slight risk for some severe storms. That's a category 2 out of 5 when we're talking about the likelihood of our severe weather chance. And then the yellow shaded color, which is a slight risk, includes our north and eastern counties. This darker green shaded color, it's a category 1, but it's still a marginal risk for some severe storms that we may see tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. So, greatest threats with this system are going to be damaging winds and also isolated tornadoes, something we cannot rule out. It already has a history of producing some rotation out in areas such as Arizona. So this is why we're going to be very, very closely monitoring this tomorrow here on KHOU. Make sure you're tuning in. Have the KHOU app downloaded on your phone. Make sure you have the notifications turned on so that we can give you any notifications if there are severe storms. Also, keep in mind, a lot of folks are traveling tomorrow, so you really want to time your travel also with the system moving in. If you can travel Sunday, that's going to be a better day because behind this system it's going to clear out, will be cooler. It's not dragging Arctic air, but it is dragging cooler Pacific air, sunny and breezy. It's actually going to be a really nice day also for tailgating because the Texans take on the Patriots on Sunday, and tailgating weather is looking fantastic. Okay. Let's check out your 7-day forecast and kind of repeat what we're going through today. Very damp, very dreary, patchy showers in the forecast. And then tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening is when the cold front pushes through. Severe storms are possible. So make sure you're staying weather aware. And then as we fast forward into the rest of the upcoming work week, it's looking pretty nice. If you're wondering when you can get your car washed, Sunday's the day to get your car washed, and then rain chances don't start to move into the forecast until very late next week. So I don't know about you, Brainy, but I'm looking forward to next week. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 60s, and not too humid because it's so humid out there this morning.
These are the Texas winters that we love. It's why we love living here because it's nice and temperate, and yeah, can't wait for Monday, Tuesday, Erica. Thank you so much. All right, so for the rest of this update, we're going to talk about some lighter stories, some funner stuff. If you want to leave some comments, I'm not sure Facebook is really cooperating right now. Maybe you noticed it was down for a couple hours yesterday and it's still kind of glitchy. We'll call it glitchy. But go ahead, leave your comments and questions, and then Brandon and I will circle back to them at the end of this. And we're going to start with everybody's favorite topic of telemarketers. You love getting those calls, right? Well, now there's a former telemarketer who is kind of sharing some secrets. Her name is, hold on, I have it written down here, Erica Elson. She spent 2 years in telemarketing, and she says, if someone calls you and you do not want them to call you back, you tell them, put me on your do not call list. She says that's kind of the trick for legitimate businesses who do those calls. For the illegitimate ones, well, put your name on the do not call registry, the national list. And if that doesn't work, there's a way for you to make money off of telemarketers who continue to call you. Tiffany Craig did that story a couple weeks ago. You can find it on khou.com. But one woman was sending her whole family to Disneyland for Christmas because she'd made like $1,500 off of telemarketers. Something to keep in mind. This next story is kind of sad. I hope it's a joke. You've probably seen it. It went viral, but it's about this food critic for the Washington Post who did a Q&A session, and during it, a woman said, oh, by the way, I want to thank you because in one of the photos you shared from a restaurant, I saw my husband eating with another woman, and when I confronted him with the picture, he revealed that he'd been having an affair. So thank you for outing my cheating husband. If you want to read that whole article, it is in the link in the caption. But yeah, the poor critic was like, I hope this is a joke. I'm so sorry. I mean, what do you say? Hopefully he's apologizing to the woman and not the cheating husband. And then finally, we were talking about the trucker salute. You know the one? When you were a kid, you're on road trips with your family, you're passing a semi. Yeah. And you do the little trucker salute, and then they use their air horn. They blast it. Yes. So awesome. Okay, so I used to do that all the time as a kid, but truckers say it's kind of dying out because kids these days aren't looking out the window. They're on their devices the whole time, and they really want kids to keep doing the trucker salute. Look at this. Look at how happy these kids are. So I want to know if that's something you did as a kid. Also, were there any other games that you'd play in the car? Because my family, we took a lot of road trips. I don't remember flying much as a kid at all. We just drove around Oregon, Northern California, Washington. And one of the games we would play is the alphabet game. So you'd have to do the alphabet using road signs. Brandon's nodding, like he played this game. Same thing with license plates. You had to put words together using the letters in the license plate. I Spy, pretty easy one. But what do you guys play in the car? I'm curious. All right, that does it for our update. Do we have any comments?
Yeah, like you said, Facebook's being a little goofy today, but I am noticing a couple. We just have a lot of good mornings, Melissa, Brenda, Andrea. Good morning to you guys. Roy's asking about more news on the plane explosion in Port Neches, but we do have that link for you, Roy, at the very top of this. That's the first link there, the 12 News Now link. For
yeah, so the way these updates work, they're live. So we talked about that in the beginning of the update, but right now the update is there's not an update. Emergency managers are meeting actually right now to talk about what's next, if they're going to keep that mandatory evacuation order in effect, because conditions are improving, but the community's not out of the woods yet. The fire's still burning, and there are concerns about a couple other spots on the plant's campus. So we'll have to wait and see, but I would encourage you to download the KHRU 11 News app, sign up for notifications so we can send out an alert as soon as we get any information from that. But I mean, it's impacting 60,000 people on a holiday weekend, and I can only imagine how frustrating it is. At Thanksgiving yesterday, my friend's parents live in Fannett, and her grandmother lives in Beaumont, and they talked about how the parents who lived in Fannett went and stayed with grandma before they came over yesterday because the conditions were just so bad. The air was so gross. You see that black plume and you know that it's just dissipating all over the Golden Triangle. Anything else, Brandon?
That's about it. I will say the version of the license plate game that I played was we moved from Texas, from Houston actually, to Oregon when I was 5 or 6, and my dad had to be stuck in a U-Haul with me for 2.5 days. So his version of the license plate game was to try to get all 50 on a piece of paper before I spoke again. So that was his version. It worked out real well for him because I was about 6 hours staring intently out the window silently, checking license plates off as I went.
That's so smart.
So shout out to David, genius.
I've played a version of that game with my kids when we drove around. My first summer here, we wanted to cross states off the list. Mm-hmm. So we did a road trip from Houston into Louisiana, up into Arkansas, and then like the little sliver of Oklahoma, and came back down. We saw, I would say, just about all of them.
Yeah, because it's the transit part, around Route 66. It's where everybody goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I used to live in Tulsa. There was a lot of people from all over the place. You'd see it coming through town.
I'm still super competitive at the alphabet game, though.
Yeah.
I refuse to let my kids win. Also, now they're 12 and almost 14. Like, they whoop me.
Yeah.
Sneaky little kids. All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. There's another update coming up here at 2:15. Also, we should probably have an update on the TPC plant situation coming up at noon. Now, our noon newscast is really short today. It's about 3 minutes because there's a lot of other stuff going on CBS. So I'll be there at noon for all of 3 minutes to get you updated. But always check back to KHRU.com and our app because those are going to have the latest information as soon as we get it in. Have a good weekend.